The battle rages on here at Project Luna Season 2 as we enter another playday. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am Gedster. Joining me for the first time during this particular tournament is Spy. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great on this fine. Well, afternoon for me, early afternoon for everyone else. But it's looking like we've got a great game ahead of us. Obviously, KittenKweens versus StrikeX. When I first casted the women's leagues inside Rainbow Six Siege, KittenKweens actually won it, and that was all the way back when Blitz had its own women's league. So, looking at
Mm.
this game, what do you think is going to be the standout for both of these teams?
This is going to be an interesting one for sure because I think KittenKweens and StrikeX and KittenKweens are both off to very good starts here. These are our current top two teams in the standings. StrikeX is interesting because they're a full EU squad coming. Three of their players are out of France, one out of the UK, and one out of Poland. And obviously, high ping can be an issue sometimes, but we are playing on US East servers to try and mitigate that as much as possible here. Meanwhile, on the other side, KittenKweens, they've got a couple of EU players themselves, one from Ireland and two from the UK, but they do also have two players from the good old United States of America. So this is literally going to be a match that likely determines who the top seed going into the playoffs will be, because not a whole lot of matches left to be played here. Map fans are ready. We can take a look at those real quick, I believe. And yep, here we are. A lot of these going off the board really early are not surprising in the slightest. I mean, Cafe is just a team that Queens do not like at all. And StrikeX taking out Night Haven, Border, Layer, Clubhouse, not shocking in the slightest. Consulate is where we are going to end up for this best of one between these two teams.
And looking at the lineup, we see here KittenKweens, they do actually get the defender-sided start on
Mm-hmm.
Consulate. Most of the time you see the Consulate, it's going to be a defender-sided map. So they're getting themselves a really good head start on this. And obviously, being a best of one, you've got to be perfect for one. You can't allow any slip-ups. You don't have a second chance after this map. You have to play well in this moment, in this time frame. And
Mm-hmm.
KittenKweens, they are going to get off to a flying start on Consulate here.
Yeah, and they're gonna need it because they may be doing really well so far, but they, unlike StrikeX, have lost a match at this point in the tournament here. So they're currently sitting at the second seed, StrikeX in first with a plus 10 round differential, by the way. They're kind of popping off. But I mean, realistically, if KittenKweens can get a good first half going here, this could really and truly go their way, and StrikeX could be handed their first loss of the tournament, which would be pretty monumental here, I won't lie.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Very, very excited. I'm maybe a little bit biased towards StrikeX, being the European caster, casting this league. So, I may have to give my European preference a little bit of love here. But hey,
Sisters.
is there? I thought preference was gender neutral.
Eh, well,
It's like,
any way you slice it. Your fellow
well,
Europeans.
my fellow Europeans, my fellow countrywomen, backing them all the way, want them to take the victory. But as I'm actually in the casting booth, I'll be completely unbiased. We'll see how it
Indeed.
goes. And honestly, all I want is a great game of Siege.
And this should be a really great game of Siege because, like I said, both of these teams have been putting up very good performances thus far here. And uh, one thing that is also very important to point out is this is a doubleheader day for KittenKweens. It's going to be a little bit rough on them because they have two matches to play, one against StrikeX and one against Overtake, who we saw on stream yesterday actually lose, I believe, their first match to Sway. And it'll be interesting to see if Overtake is going to be able to bounce back from that unfortunate loss taken yesterday. But I mean, I think we're still waiting on players to get into the lobbies. So for now, we are going to send this to a quick break. When we come back, map one, well, the only map of this particular series, but map one on the day will begin. We are back, everybody. All players are in the lobby. The match between KittenKweens and StrikeX can finally begin here on Consulate. As a reminder, we are in a best of one, and it is time, everyone, for the first ban phase of today's playday of Project Luna Season 2.
Yep, and it's going to be some interesting ones because there's so many operators in this current meta that could be banned out. You can see the Ying, you can see the Grim. On the defense, you can see the Azami, you can see the Mirror. But I'm definitely expecting that Mirror to be one of the first banned out. Am I going to be right? Or am I going to look an idiot? Yeah, Mirror and Grim. I actually really like the Grim ban just because he is so strong in not only getting intel, but also clearing out the power positions. So here he is, banned out first. And now we're going to see how they're going to deal with it. Are they going to bring the Ying now to use as a power position? Or are they just going to use the utility, the throwables? Second ban's out, Dokkaebi and Fenrir. Not surprised on the Dokkaebi, but I'm kind of surprised on the Fenrir. There could have been others, like maybe the Azami, maybe the Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie staying on the board is a little bit surprising for sure, but with the operators that we currently see banned, I'm not entirely surprised here. I mean, Fenrir makes perfect sense. That character has been extremely prevalent in the last couple seasons, really, of Siege, and Dokkaebi has always been one of those characters that kind of just gets banned on a pretty regular basis. So not a huge surprise to see her gone as well. Now, the question I have here is if this defensive lineup goes through, where are those bandit batteries going from Miha? I am very curious to see that in particular because second floor bandit is not a setup I see super often.
For Bandit, obviously, I feel like it's just going to go on that pro wall. The other one it could go on, obviously, the admin wall if they're extending over onto that side. So they're the two places you'd normally see with the Bandit, even the yellow wall sometimes, but most of the time you want to keep that soft so then you can at least exert some pressure onto the bathroom balcony. But I don't hate the pick. I normally play Bandit on the top floor just because I love having a C4 always on that because it's just so much vertical control that you can use. But the other picks, I'm not surprised, but I think they're really good. I think obviously Fawn is like a really good operator now in the current themes. And as I've just heard, we are currently getting a rehost. I don't know who said to host on these two. It couldn't have been definitely wasn't me.
Definitely wasn't Spy who said, let's
Guys,
set
I'm not
this
being
up
asked
on
to come
East
back.
2.
I'm never asked to come back. Don't worry, guys. If you don't see me again, no, that's why.
The Project Luna TOs are gonna take Spy out back real quick. we need to get the new color commentator on. We're gonna throw to another quick break while we rehost this lobby. But when we come back, surely the game will actually happen. We're back for real this time. I hope. Let's go. It's me, Getster. It's my co-caster Spy. Let's go, everybody.
I am very, very excited for this game again. And again, we have. Oh, my band's bugged? Hopefully not. Well, anyway, if they are, people remember.
What the hell happened to the band
no,
page?
no. They remember the bands. Just. They remember the bands.
Surely.
Do a nice little thing where we remember what the bands are. Just don't play them. Okay.
Well, just don't play the character.
We don't have to rehearse anymore.
This is not real. This is not a real
Scouts
game,
honor.
bro.
Scouts honor. Scouts honor. Do not play the operators.
This is not a real game, bro.
It's fine. Let's speak about the round, though. We are starting on the top floor. We have the bandit, probably going to be bandit tricking, extending into admin. You see the solos, you see the move, making the rotate, making the reinforcements, putting them up, and ready with not only the traps for the knives, but also the C4s to make sure that they catch them out. You see a lot of the time, whether it's the C4s over the top of the triple, or even just from the coffin area thrown out onto the windows as they rappel in. It's really good tech and a really good way to be able to get those free picks going out. And then just to cover their tracks, they have the razor balloons to make sure there's no gaps on the board. There's nowhere where the team of StrikeX can lurk through.
A very difficult setup to break, but if anybody can do it, it's StrikeX, the team currently leading the standings here in Luna Season 2. And it seems like an early approach from this particular angle will be the option for them. I do like the usage of the Twitch here as well. Bringing that along makes it a lot more difficult for the Denari, for the Thorn, for even the Mute to just exist here. But Yuli, with a super early pick onto that Bandit, is going to be so crucial moving forward in this one.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong opening pick. Obviously, the utility mainly from that bandit is already down, but that is obviously the C4 gone and off the board, and it will create some gaps. It means there's one less extra person to be holding a certain angle. Maybe if the bandit was needing to hold yellow side, maybe if he was needing to hold spiral, that means that there may be that little bit of a gap left available for the attackers to exploit as they start to just get these drones out, figure out where the remaining defenders are, and if they have a position to be able to take into admin and start their flurry and move on forward, as there is a player in, and it's a pick off the board as Sawney takes down Adriella, and again, they've doubled down and have been able to get 2 off the board here.
Yeah, the approach has been really and truly great from StrikeX thus far. KittenKweens' defense kind of falling apart as it stands here. The Twitch has just been so valuable at getting not only utility off the board, but Sawney already also has a pick in this map, and I mean, so far, KittenKweens haven't even been able to answer back with any damage. Alicia taking a little bit there, but finally getting a trade back onto Sawney. And that Twitch no longer going to be a thorn in their side, but unfortunately, a lot of the damage has already been done. There are sight lines opened into so many different angles on the site here. Particularly, Yuling still on that sight line, but what's this? Helly managing to find a kill onto Kiki, and Alicia finding another. Puppy also taking Bloppy out of the equation, so it's just an ace left in a 1 versus 3. Started out looking so good for StrikeX, but it's simply not going to be enough, it seems like. And the tripwires will slow Sun down enough that, I mean, the pick is so easy, so effortless for the Denari on this position. And KittenKweens snatch victory from the jaws of defeat in round 1.
Well, they had the utility to get rid of the denied lasers. Well, they had the picks on the board as well. The issue was their lurk on the backstab was not able to get anything because of the fact that the razor balloons were there perfectly in time to make sure that they knew when that gap was being hitted at the right time. And then also, on the other side, they did not really have the right utility to clear out the vending shield, which is it's surprising because that's such a common area where you see most teams have a deployable shield, have a person playing, where you'd normally bring either a floors, either some extra set of nades to just bonk off the doorway and blow open that position. But either they didn't have the burn or they just didn't have the nades available to clear them out. And now we see KittenKweens being able to clutch a 3v5 from a position that looked like they were all but destined to fail. and they get to now rotate to the bottom floor bomb site with a little bit of momentum in their hand, because when you win a round, you get some momentum. But if you win a round like that, you get even more momentum, because it's like you've just got this euphoria of being able to just grab a round that you never should have won.
The setup being broken there for KittenKweens was, I mean, simply, it seemed like it was going to be enough for StrikeX, but, I mean, the Queens hold on for at least a little bit longer here. And now going into this next round, down in the basement, KittenKweens, they're feeling pretty solid here, and I do like the presence that we see from them on the first floor, particularly from Heli. Yuli already gone. No more Nomad. And that is such a crucial operator to be losing out on this quickly. I don't know if all of the air jabs went up, but even if they did, you're still losing out on a gun this early. And speaking of losing out on guns, 2 more are gone. Whoppy and Kiki. They just lose gunfights elsewhere on the map. A lot of individual missteps for StrikeX thus far. KittenKweens suddenly seem a whole lot more confident.
It was either individual gunfights or just too much space between the players. Because the issue there is you see them picked off one by one, and there's just no refrags on the board. And here's another isolated gunfight coming out between the Thermite. Instead of a gunfight, it's a Pokeball fight, because the impact goes out. And now again, we're seeing another isolated gunfight. But to be fair, they're the only one left. Sammy, can you do it? No, Alicia from behind, she takes them out. And now we are looking at a back-to-back rounds, but this time it's flawless.
Not only is it flawless, Spy, it's fast. That was ridiculous from KittenKweens. Normally, when you see a round end that quickly, it's because the attackers are being very aggressive. They're playing quick. They're playing...
Go for a rush.
Like, a full rush, right? In this particular instance, the presence from KittenKweens on the upper floor was so effective. And they were able to find and isolate so many picks so quickly that it just went their way perfectly the entire time.
Yeah, it felt like StrikeX just weren't ready for it. Obviously, in that last round on the top for bomb site, we did see more of a passive extension. We didn't see them really try to get into the face of StrikeX, but this time we saw them at the front gate, at the front door, fighting for every little ground and getting every single pick as well, always fragging out on the server. And now, if we see another round 1 on their tertiary bomb site, there could be grounds for a timeout coming out from StrikeX, because you expect them to have a fighting chance on this bomb site. I know it's after a flaw, it's after a demoralizing round, but even so, this is the round that you expect the attackers to have the biggest advantage in winning, because it is the defender's weakest bomb site. Look at the lineup though, they've gone heavy on the tracks with both the Capcan, both the Fawn, and we're going to see there be no gaps available. Looking at the from StrikeX though, I'm expecting an admin over. I'm expecting them going from that side, making sure they get that vertical control, and then use it to start their execute down onto that main bomb site.
And this is an uncharacteristic start for StrikeX as well. I mean, so far in Project Luna, they have not lost a map quite yet. So far in this particular series, they have dropped 2 total kills. This is uncharacteristic from them for sure, and that is so rough to have to like start off the bat of, because I mean, you go into this one feeling confident based on previous performances, and so far it hasn't gone particularly well. Even though you get the opening 2 picks in that first round, you just can't capitalize off of that, and now it's a matter of getting in on this next round. And they need to find a way in. They've nearly found one with a pick on by Adriella, but the player hasn't gone down yet. And unfortunately, Floppy is going to be the first victim. And the Deimos going down is so crucial.
Yeah, obviously they were already basically on death's door, but finally they do get that pick. But hasn't really found much ground up until they get the player inside of long desk. And now we're looking at a man advantage. Never mind, Poppy swings it back round. But then again, the man advantage, they're getting those free frags this time round out. Whereas last time we saw a lot of isolated gunfights, we're seeing them play the buddy system. We're seeing them play together a lot more effectively. And now we're seeing the trades come out. But the question is, do they know that Heli is ratting here inside a bathroom?
This is a really, really like unexpected position for this captain to be playing. And they know now, Heli, doesn't get away with that one. Yuli able to hit the shot. And, I mean, the presence is still so prominent here. But with that pick, Alicia could potentially be stealing this one up. There is a downed player on the other side, so this is a technical 1v1. Dosani should potentially be able to get this pickup going. I'm not even sure how Yuli went down in that particular instance, but with only 30 seconds left, Sani and Yuling now both on their feet. Diffuser not in either of their hands though, so they have to be the aggressors here. Alicia on the angle here, just waiting for someone to overpush. 10 seconds remaining in the round here. Flash goes out and misses. Yuli is down, but Sani's able to get the trade here. And that is, at long last, a round win for StrikeX.
And you see there, that's in a lot better round in terms of team play. The strategy, I think, has always been good throughout these 3 rounds. But this time round out, they play just a lot closer together, a lot more with each other, and always available to make sure that that revive potential was there. Even in that final moments, you saw that, yes, they went for the defuse. Yes, we saw Alicia. She did get that kill. But, again, the fuse swung around the corner, instantly available to get that revive. And since Alicia, she's stuck in a long corridor, nowhere to go. The only direction is into the gunfight, into the bullets. She wasn't ready for the next gunfight, and it's a wonderful trade out coming out from StrikeX, and they do get that touch. So I was thinking if they were lost that round that they were needing to make that timeout, but it doesn't matter as the timeout will not be needed. They get the tertiary bomb site, and honestly, last time we saw them attack the top 4 bomb site, we saw a similar direction of attack. We saw a similar play being that admin over, and they did a good job in getting those 2 opening picks. So they may be confident going into this attack. They may know what they have to do. They may know what they did wrong last time, and I think the question mark is, can they adapt from that? Are they able to get rid of that shield this time around out, get rid of the power positions, and also make sure that they have a different point of pressure? Because last time their pressure was completely shut out by a single perfectly placed Thorn gadget. The question marks is, are they going to bring the utility to make sure that they can reestablish those gaps? Maybe bring a Thorn or a Brava, or not Thorn, a Twitch or Brava, which we're seeing right now, the Twitch come out to maybe zap away that Thorn gadget, so then that gap comes available to them again.
Yeah, seeing Twitch again, really not a surprise here, considering how good that operator is at clearing out so much of what KittenKweens is running. And, I mean, this time around, it's gotten even more effective this time, I'd say, because obviously, last time you had the Denari, you had the Thorn that you could really mess up with the help of that operator. But this time, you also have a Goyo on the side of KittenKweens, and if those get taken down prematurely, then it is very suboptimal for the KittenKweens defense. We do see a little bit of pressure here on this wall from the Maverick, and the wall eventually will open. Claymore also there. I doubt it's actually going to find any kills here. Surely nobody from KittenKweens walks into that one, but a very aggressive angle taken by Adriella is punished by Yuling. So another early numbers advantage for StrikeX, but we know how that went last time we were on this site.
And there you go. This time the utility is there to make sure they clear out the player playing inside of that vending hall position. And now she is completely backed up all the way down into that Oreo position. But it's another pick coming out from Yuling. Never mind, as the trade is there, Helly, she has her teammates back and gets a double down as it's a double on the board for the Nori. Again, Helly is just a master of this top 4 when it comes down to defending.
Simply cannot be stopped right now. Currently sitting at 5 kills. So is Alicia. But she's also on the ground as it stands. So it is an effective 3 versus 3 here. And StrikeX currently feeling pretty alright about this approach. But Alicia does get picked up. So it's not going to be an easy approach onto this site. And they have a pretty good idea of where this Lion is in particular. Another down but not out moment though. That one's not going to go through. Floppy finding a couple of clean headshots to potentially bring the team back into this one. And Yep, Bloppy is just too clean with it. Too nice with the shots. And says, I'm lagging so much. This is this is final form Bloppy though. You don't need low ping to be dominant.
I would say she may be lagging, but the lag actually is the thing that fears Bloppy. So right now,
True.
let her cook. Let her cook. Because she's just had an amazing look, not only first downing the person on the Oreo door, but then realizing that a lot of inexperienced players will just swing that door and be like, I'm getting my kill. I'm confirming my kill. But she knew that it was a bait. She knew that someone would be holding or waiting for her to either swing and go for the down or just pick them off. But she knew exactly where they'd be holding, took down the cover as well, and then was also able to cement the kill and cement the round by finishing off the smoke. A little bit of shenanigans happened. The smoke maybe came out just a little bit too late to stop the plant. And then obviously the unfortunate finish off, the unfortunate little bit of a TK with the smoke mine. But it happens in the end of the day. They're going to reattempt though. The top floor happens again, and I'm curious to see how they are going to adapt this time. We saw again that admin over come out from StrikeX, and they did it perfectly this time. They knew exactly what went on last time, being that vending hall position. They brought the nades, they brought the utility. How are they going to adapt? Are they going to bring more people on the admin side to contest them? And are they going to fight just that little bit more aggressive so that StrikeX can't have those early positions?
No form of denial on this wall here this time around for KittenKweens. Previously, we've seen a bandit try and play here, but hasn't worked out. So they're just going to reinforce it and leave it be, really. But surely this will be opened by, I imagine, okay, yeah, no hard breach charges for Kiki on this recruit. So it is probably going to be down to the ace in this particular instance, but what an opening pick. Yuli just continually finding these perfect angles, whether it be because of the Maverick opening up a particular area of this wall, or really just any other of these numerous angles into the site that are being opened up by StrikeX. I mean, you can always count on Yuli. What a shot from Hallie as well. So it's a 1-for-1 going into the 140 mark.
It's crazy to look at the scoreline though, because obviously it's 2-2, despite the fact StrikeX have actually gotten 4 out of 5 now opening picks, and we're seeing them obviously get the one in this round, but then they did lose it instantly, losing that twitch so early on, but it doesn't matter, as we say, Kiki getting the next pick back onto their side and making sure that they keep that man advantage inside of their server, but Yuling then goes down as well. How are they going to answer back? How are they going to be able to make sure that they get the man advantage back? Because the question marks is, I questioned their ability to refrag, and it's happening again, but a prone position inside a bathroom as Kiki gets another Poppy going down, and now we're seeing them again get that man advantage back.
Ooh, another engagement here, and they know exactly where Kiki is. It's 2 versus 2. Major health advantage for StrikeX, though. Ace does take a little bit of damage on the approach here, but the diffuser is going to be started at very least here. Sun is forced to get off of it, at least for the moment. And there is pressure on the Ace. Will be punished for trying to get that diffuser down. It's down to Bloppy. 1 versus 2. Playing that Flores. Full health. So there is about 100 health on both of these teams as it stands. But, I mean, approaching this one just feels very difficult at this point. Only 13 seconds remaining for Bloppy to try and make something happen here. The camera should have just given away the position of this Flores. You know where at least one of these players is, but you don't expect Heli on your immediate left here. So KittenKweens, they will answer back after a couple rounds dropped in a row, putting themselves at 3-round wins on defense.
And again, it just feels like a little bit disconnect coming out from StrikeX there. Just, you see the player going from the plant, but her cover all the way off in Narnia, all the way off on the other side of the map. It's just, there's a little bit disconnect sometimes between these two players. They can all gun. We've seen it throughout. So many players being able to just pop off with great kills throughout this game. But it just sometimes feel like maybe they're either too far away from each other or just not a little bit on the same page. Because maybe the backside needs to come just a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker, because if they get that in, they then have the isolated gunfight onto that Ela because of the solos dropping down below. And then they can get that bomb down maybe for free if they just plant on an elevated surface like the desk you see next to the window. But again, there's just a little bit disconnect coming out in that round, a little bit lack of either just coordination or comms in the server to be able to make sure that they're ready and available to play off each other and just make sure that they get that bomb down or just get the frags on side. But again, back to this basement. Last time we saw unprecedented aggression come out from KittenKweens. Probably unlikely to see it again because StrikeX will probably be ready for it and wary that the aggression will come out. Seeing the Monty, seeing the Sledge, seeing the demos, I'm expecting, like, especially the player positioning, is going to be a quick back hit. Sledge is already in, the Monty's already in, and we're seeing them get this space quickly and fast right here.
Yeah, they've already taken this approach very, very quickly, have StrikeX here, and Sonny on a personal favorite operator of mine, the Sledge. Not one we see super often in Siege, obviously has been a little bit overshadowed by certain other soft breach capable operators in this game, like the Ram, like the Buck over the years, but every so often you gotta whip out the hammer. Unfortunately, Bloppy is the first victim in this particular round here. And again, that's the Deimos that you're losing out on so early, which is really unfortunate because Deimos is one of those operators who becomes so much more useful as the round gets longer and longer. Fortunately, though, StrikeX is able to find one back onto Alicia. And it seems like this round is being extremely quickly paced already, with both teams just facing off right off the bat. Now Miha able to find Sonny as well, so it is going to be, what a flank. What a flank that Kiki just didn't expect, and now the tip of the spear with the Montaigne is completely gone. And with another pick onto Sun, Yuli now in a 1 versus 3 to potentially even out the scoreline here going into the second half, but I don't think she's got this one. StrikeX not able to take more than 2 rounds in their attacking half here. But KittenKweens, they hold strong in the defense. 4-2 moving into the second half.
Adriella may have only got 1 for 1, but that's the best 1 for 1 you could ever ask for. Taking down the Monty on such a massive flank for their team right there. And then, obviously, they were still in the man disadvantage, but it doesn't matter. You take down the Monty, you take down the entire crutch, the entire push of the team, and we're looking at such a great advantage. Now into the bans, Malusi and Grim. I really like the Malusi ban. I've already spoken about the Grim ban on the first bit, but Malusi is such a good operator in terms of the fact that secondary shotgun, check. Impacts, check. Great primary, check. And 4 Malusis. I remember when Malusi got that buff, I was like, this is insane, because Malusi can now cover basically every single gap that you would normally have in a site, and then you can bring still a secondary operator like the Fenrir or like just any barbed wire. And now the second bans, we see again the same exact attacking bans, the Grim and the Dokube going out, but then we see the Goyo. Obviously, Goyo is great on board in terms of slowing down the time and just making sure that the defenders can always just sit pretty and just waste the time of the attackers. 20 seconds is what the Goyo counters burn, each one of them, and they get, 4 of them? So that's what, in total, basically a minute of time waste on the board. That's bad maths. It's a minute and 20 seconds time waste on the board. So that's just insane for them. The question mark is right now for me, KittenKweens, great defensive half, especially on the basement, to be fair. Can you now translate it onto the attack? Can you bring the momentum forward with you? We do actually see the side that I think was the best from KittenKweens starting for StrikeX, that basement bomb site. How are they going to attack it? Are they going to go for that top-down clear? Or are they going to go for what we just saw? Look in the lineup, I cannot see them going for that backside take. I think it has to be a frontside take, making sure you get control of piano and then open that main breach. But the thing is, they also do not have actually a big hard breacher, so it's going to have a lot of job onto that Barna. And if they go out early, there's no more hard breach.
But you know what I do see amongst the operators here for KittenKweens? The Observer already knows what I want to talk about. It's our new operator. It's Solid Snake. I'm the resident Metal Gear guy around these parts. I am so happy this guy's in the game.
I've got a question,
What's up? What's up?
when you saw like the leaks, the rumors, what was did you just think, yeah, sure, buddy, this ain't happening? Like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in Siege. Like, it's not a skin, which is like, okay, that's cool. We got Mikasa Ackerman, that's cool. We got Roman Reigns, that's cool. It's just a skin. No, Solid Snake is its own operator, its own ability. Like, that's insane.
When I saw the teaser that was just Solid Snake, like his torso with his pistol, I was like, there's no way, right? I figured it was an actual operator when I saw his pistol in his hand, and I was like, that's not a skin. That's just his actual pistol. But I still didn't entirely believe it until like much later. It was definitely a surprise to me, but I am delighted that he is in fact in the game now. But it remains to be seen how effective he will be in this particular round. Alicia, it appears clearing out some of the area elsewhere in the map, but this backside take that we weren't entirely expecting is going to be coming out of here anyway. And I mean, Puppy just completely shutting down that staircase with the gridlock. So many track stingers there that any defender who even practically looks at that is going to be going down. And ooh, Bandit Trick comes in just a little bit too late. A little bit of damage on Bloppy, but more important. Yeah, very, very lucky.
As we go out here, we do see a lot of the ground being accomplished. We do see a lot of the ground being taken up by the KittenKweens, and they're also learning from what they did. They're holding the flanks, making sure that no one can come down, but Yuling at least gets the frag back onto Agile before she got a pick of her own on the Tubarão, but still they're ready and waiting for anyone coming down. There you go. There's one of the flanks completely shut down. Heli taking down Bloppy, and now it's left with the 3 remaining players in sight as they get another 4v2 advantage for KittenKweens here.
Yeah, but another trade back onto Biha makes this another significantly more difficult affair, and now 2 versus 2. Make it a 2 versus 1 with a very well-placed grenade from the Snake, and Heli's going to close this one out. The opening round goes very well for KittenKweens, and that puts them on 5 round wins. What a shot to end that round, too. 5-2, KittenKweens starting off this doubleheader with a very strong showing.
Heli's a gunner. Like, 15-2?
True.
15-2.
Maybe a little bit ridiculous.
Heli has only died in the rounds that StrikeX has lost. So what I'm hearing... Oh, sorry, KittenKweens have lost. So StrikeX has won. So what I'm hearing is the win con for StrikeX, kill Heli. Because she is completely destroying every... You know, I agree. PC checker. Check her PC. Because 15-2 is outrage. Hey, for Mijare, I'm sorry if I butcher anyone's names, but Mijare, if you think about it, they are 16-7 together if you combine their KD. But overall, that last push was amazing from KittenKweens. They were able to make sure that they had the refrags, they were able to make sure they had the utility, and they knew what StrikeX were always wanted to do. We saw them make sure that they had the flanks shut down. They were able to push up quickly by using the smokes to cover the eyes of sights, by covering the players in pillar. And then, even when they lost that man advantage, they were able to use the utility, like the frag grenade we saw taking down the Azami, to take it right back from under StrikeX noses. And then in that final kill, they just had that better heads-up play, that better gun skill to win it out. And we see KittenKweens win their first attack on the board. Not only their first attack, but on the primary bomb site. StrikeX, they think they know what they did wrong. They think they knew what the problem was. So they're re-attention. They're like, okay, let's go here again. They just go for this basement bomb site one more time. And after that timeout, their coach or themselves, I don't know if they have a coach, but either their coach or themselves must have got some words of wisdom to help them fuel on and start this comeback.
I am very curious, though. Before we really get into the action of this round, what do you make of this alibi pick coming out from StrikeX? Because this setup is vastly different than what we saw in the previous round where they defended the site. And alibi, kind of one of those operators that you don't see as much these days.
This is true, but I learned something recently that I had no idea was true. Alibi is a snake counter, which I had no idea.
Yes, I forgot about that.
it sees the Alibi clones, which is it's really cool because Alibi. I still don't think Alibi's amazing. I think Alibi has a nasty gun. Like the gun from Alibi is insanely good, and then obviously having that new counter to an operator that everyone is seeing as really strong is useful. So I'm not saying it's a troll pick like say a Thunderbird or even a Cav is not even that troll anymore, but a Thunderbird or Rook, for example. I'm not gonna say it's a troll as that level, because it does have actually some good reasonings to bring. So I like it. Honestly, I want to see how they cook with it.
Okay. I see you. I see that. And you know what else I see? I see a very aggressive play coming out here from KittenKweens. Once again, we see this first, like, this bottom floor take just coming out so ridiculously quickly and very effectively. This time, though, I believe the bandit trick was successful. Yuli was able to keep that wall closed, and theoretically, that makes this a little bit harder for KittenKweens to attack, but they still find the opening pick onto Sonny, of all people. That DMR, one of the few defender weapons that still has an ACOG on it after the recent update, removing a lot of those sights from defending operators, and winning a duel against that gun in particular could make this a significantly easier attack for KittenKweens, but they've only got a minute left.
Yeah, and here comes crunch time as Heli does go down, but instantly refragged. Alicia takes down Sun, and we're looking at, again, a situation where Adrella is the next as well. But, again, here's the fight back. The defender's still trying to stay alive in this round, and we're
my God, Kiki.
Maybe an answer back here.
Kiki finding a couple of crucial picks in that fight, too. Looks away at just the wrong time, Yuli. That could have been a pick, but steps away from the sight line, and now it's a 1 versus 3 for Kiki. This would have to be a 1v3 to finish out an ace, but it will not be so. KittenKweens have just put themselves on match point here on Consulate.
I think Heli has plot armor. Yeah. I have a reasoning for this. So in that round, Heli gets completely lit up. She is down on the floor, about to be finished. And Noah, her teammate, comes in and saves her, and then she doesn't get finished off. Like, it's insane right now. But again, that's the difference, I think, between these two teams, at least throughout this game. We saw a lot of moments on StrikeX's attacks where they just felt disjointed. They felt a little bit disconnected. Whereas the two attacks that I've just seen from KittenKweens, they have been perfect together, always available for each other when one you saw goes down and is needing to be saved, or when one completely is taken out, always there with the refrag, always there with the pick back. I will say though, one thing that has really benefited KittenKweens, it's the F2 buff, because I've seen a lot of F2 kills between these two rounds. Like, they are cooking with that gun right now. I mean, it's a good gun. I still prefer the DMR, but that mainly is because I'm probably a lot worse than most of the, and I'm not going to say most, all the players in this lobby. So I've got to use a DMR, DMR crutch, makes sense, But they're doing really good with the F2, and they continue on that. But we will finally see a different bomb site. Obviously, it's been 3 rounds now. They want to mix it up. They want to change it up. If StrikeX are able to win at this round, not only do they stay alive, not only do they start the comeback, but we get to see another ban phase, and maybe that can kickstart them being able to translate a win onto those different sites.
That's very true. If they're able to take this one away, I kind of expect that we might see the snake come off the board here, because that operator has been extremely crucial for the KittenKweens attack on both of the previous basement site rounds that we've seen, and they're bringing it along for this top floor attack as well. So that's my personal expectation, but in order to get to that point where you can take Snake off the board, you have to actually win out this round first, and that is something that StrikeX are very capable of doing. I mean, this is a team that up to this point has been undefeated, but right now to keep that streak alive, they will need to do what no other match has done in Project Luna Season 2 and go all the way to overtime. This has been a very impressive showing for KittenKweens, and we're going to need to see something just as impressive from StrikeX if we want to see them keep their undefeated streak alive.
If I'm Overtake, by the way, right now, because obviously KittenKweens play Overtake next, I'm maybe shaking in my boots because this is
Maybe
basically
a
a
little
warm up. This is kind of like a warm up game. Like they may not be warm. This is like their first game, but if they go into yours, but okay, you
Oh
know
my
what? Never
God,
mind.
Kiki.
is alive and in the server as Majaya goes down. But again, there you go. There's the refrag. Always that. Sorry, what? A smoke grenade.
Smoke grenade
Okay,
kill.
never mind. You know that's BM right there. Taking them down with the smoke grenade, and that was okay. I'm completely lost off track right now. But Yuling at least takes Heli down, the first death in a while, and that may be the win con here for StrikeX.
Potentially, but you can't count KittenKweens out yet. They've got more gunners in the squad. Adriele at 10, Alicia at 9 right now. And even Puppy, I've seen Puppy play before. I know she's capable of more than just 3 picks. So can't count anybody out as it stands. And look at where this Twitch is.
Ooh.
I'm not sure anybody expects this particular angle, but no, there is someone looking at stairs. But Kiki is going to lose out on that particular duel. There is still an Aruni gate in the way, so you can't make it through there particularly easily. And a couple of whiff shots means that this is still going to be a 3 versus 3. 20 seconds remaining for KittenKweens to attack into this one. And they do have the health advantage. Yuli, very, very low on HP right now, but may not even end up mattering. 1-for-1 trade. Sonny and Yuling versus Adriele and Puppy. 7 seconds remaining in the round, and Adriele either has to get started on a plant here, or 1v1. Puppy and Sonny, no pick. The hiding from the Aruni is enough, and they'll take away a round for the first time in what feels like ages. And it is, as you say, we're in round 10, and that means we get a 3rd ban.
Who is this 3rd ban going to be? I think you're right. I think it has to be that Snake. It has been the thorn in the side of StrikeX throughout these attacking rounds, but defenders, I don't know. Never mind. It's good. Huh? Target banning Heli right now because Heli played Brava basically at least 2 out of those 3 rounds of attack. So not crazy to see. But then the answer. Oh, I actually didn't see what. Hold on. Let's get back on my clean feed. It was a Rooney. Okay, it was a Rooney.
Yeah.
Which, not crazy ban. I mean, it's a DMR off the board, which always lovely to have one of those off the board. And then obviously the gates are really good at making sure that utility is burned, utility is wasted, and then obviously like we saw in that last round, it just stopped the flow of the attack, slowed them down, and made sure that some entranceways just couldn't be gotten through without either burning a smoke canister, burning a drone, or just running through it and wasting some HP. But we're gonna see the basement maybe one last time, unless this comeback can continue. It always starts with 1, and StrikeX, they got that 1. Can they continue? Can they keep this comeback flowing as we see them try this basement? What's going to happen though this time? I'm curious to see if they're going to go for more of a heavy roam, because both times from KittenKweens, we have seen them go through that backside. We've seen them go from the back to the front. Are they going to go more for a traditional take? Get the top floor control and then move down to get the vert. Looking at the locations from the players, that's what I'm expecting right now. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Are they okay? Okay, we're good. We're good.
We're good. I was scared. I was fearful for a moment there, but
because that would have meant a rehost. So
that would a rehost at this stage in the game. I mean, at least we would have had our bans like actually solidified on the screen. But like, it's whatever. It's whatever. We don't need them. We don't need them. At this stage, we do not need them. StrikeX playing for their lives right now here. I've got to say, I really don't agree with banning out the Brava there. I think that Brava is maybe not that much of a problem, like in this previous like couple of rounds here, because obviously it's a comfort pick very clearly for Heli. But I mean, Heli is very clearly capable of finding picks no matter what operator she's on. So I think I still think this should have been the Snake, but that is not the case this time around. So a very similar attack for KittenKweens this time around. We are looking at a similar take from the other side of the basement, which, I mean, some people I know got to take notes for their ranked games. I see a lot of people just banging their heads into the brick wall that is the garage door, and it doesn't ever work out that well for you. So KittenKweens taking an angle here. About 80 seconds left.
obviously, I do agree this is sometimes a better take, but the question marks is, StrikeX have seen this attack 3 times now, basically. So have they been able to finally adapt, realize how they can stop it in their tracks, and make sure that they win our defending round? So far, no, it's Helly. She gets the open pick, Poppy with another, and again, it's KittenKweens starting off hot.
Yep, excellent start here. Both of those hard breach charges from Helly's recruit are going onto the garage door here, and that opens up the perfect sight line. Helly finding picks. And Puppy also falling a little bit low here, but it may not end up mattering. 3 players down for StrikeX. The undefeated streak here in Project Luna Season 2 finally, seemingly coming to an end, and it does with a flawless round from KittenKweens, the only team to stay undefeated will finally fall over as KittenKweens win their first match of today's doubleheader.
I mean, one of the streaks had to end, and it was StrikeX's in the end. And still, a fun fact, a fun stat still reigns true. Helly only died in losing rounds. We call Stompin' King. Is Helly the queen? That's all I'm saying.
Could be. Could potentially be. Who knows, really? I mean, definitely a kitten queen. Definitely a kitten queen at this point.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, what a ridiculous map from them. The moment they were able to, get the momentum started in those opening 2 rounds, it felt like they just never looked back. Even in rounds that they lost, it was still ridiculously close, either coming down to time or just the rare, like in this case, the rare StrikeX pop off. But again, we cannot be counting StrikeX out. This is their first loss of the entire tournament. And when I was talking with Zero, one of the tournament organizers, about Luna the other day, and Cassiopeia, one of the players for Sway, both of them were saying that right now it feels like anybody could walk away winning Project Luna Season 2. And that feels more accurate now than ever before.
I've got to agree. But obviously, we still have another game for us. It's going to be KittenKweens versus Overtake. A very exciting game, especially after the game I just watched. Can KittenKweens use the momentum from a stomping, honestly, to move on to stomp the next team? We'll have to see. But we're going to take a little bit of a break to get ourselves a little bit, refreshed, and then obviously get the game ready and sorted. But don't go anywhere. We've still got amazing siege to come.
We're back, everybody, and so is KittenKweens. As stated earlier, they have a double header today. They've taken their first series against StrikeX 7-3, but now they have a brand new opponent to face in Orbital, who we have seen previously on this broadcast. Once again, I am Getster. Joining me is Spy. And how you feeling after that first one, my man?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling energized. It's nice to now see at least one of the teams in action and see how they compare and how they play the game in terms of the strategy and how well they can gun. And all I can say is, Helly, she can gun quite well, but she's up against a good team now. Overtake. I'm not okay. To be that's me. StrikeX are a great team as well. But
that's crazy.
I'm very much looking forward to watch Overtake because my dad. No, I'm back. Hold on. We're live.
No, I said Orbital earlier.
I'm very much looking forward to cast Overtake because I know of Sierra. Funny enough, her boyfriend messaged me begging me to let him on the cast as if I controlled this. Yeah, Jog. I'm not. I'm. This is my first day. Like first day on the job. I can't just be like trying to drag you in. Like
he's trying to bench me. He's trying to bench me.
No, I was gonna bench myself for Jog. If anything happened, I'd bench myself for Jog. But mine as well. I think she's a good player. But let's look at the bans quickly, so we can at least get them underway quickly. So, what map are we going to? Oh, what's your thoughts on Nighthaven Labs, Getster?
Nighthaven Labs. I do love to see this one personally. I've brought this up basically every time Nighthaven comes up, but this was actually the newest map in the game when I started consistently playing Siege. I'm relatively new to the game in comparison to many of you watching at home, I imagine. But so this map in particular is one that I really personally love. I'm a fan of Nighthaven because while everyone else was learning the new map, I was learning the game and the new map alongside them. So it's kind of nostalgic for me personally, and I'm very happy to see it in the map pool. So it's gonna be a banger. I'm excited for this one.
Me personally, I also love Nighthaven Labs. I actually think it's the I'm gonna go out on a controversial. Maybe it's controversial. I don't know. I think it's the best current map in the comp pool. Okay. Well, I've already been told I'm wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, look. Hey, okay, I've got a right and a wrong. That's one for one. You're the final decision.
The producer disagrees. The observer agrees. I don't.
What are you saying?
I'm the tiebreaker here. I don't know because I think it's in my top 3, but I don't think it's my number 1. I don't think it's my number 1. I think my favorite map in the pool right now, as someone who doesn't play very much. Keep that in mind. As someone who doesn't play very much and mostly casts, I think my favorite map in the pool is probably. I might have to say Chalet. I like Chalet, man. I like Chalet. I don't know what to say, man.
Okay, so guess is basic. Our producer is a clubhouse. A crazy one to say the least. I'm not gonna say anything. But see, my top 3 are Nighthaven, Lair, and Fortress. So I'm a new gen apparently, but no, I think Nighthaven is just a fun map to watch. I know a lot of people are saying it's getting boring and getting basic. It plays the same, but I really like how it plays in terms of how you can defend it. It's just so unique, and also I've hit some of my best clips on it, so there is a little bit of bias in that. So, but I'm excited to see what these players can do with it in terms of on the board, in terms of their strategies, in terms of what they go for. I'm going to see, like, for example, on the base map, they go for a heavy roam. We saw a lot of the times from a lot of the team, not KittenKweens, they really like to roam, but we definitely saw from StrikeX, they really like the bunkers on those basement kind of side. They didn't really have that big, massive roam. Are we going to see something different coming out from Overtake? Are we going to see more of an extended roam?
I lied, by the way. I forgot about Bank. Bank is my favorite. Bank, then Chalet, then Nighthaven. I like Bank a lot, okay? Anyways, yeah, it is going to be very interesting to see how both of these teams react to the map pick that we've seen. Interestingly, one thing I did notice about the map bans just now is the fact that the last 2 maps available were I believe, yeah, it was Consulate and Nighthaven, and Overtake, they did not want to play the Consulate that we just saw KittenKweens on, man. And I wonder why that might be, because KittenKweens looked extremely solid on that map. So Nighthaven definitely seems like the better option between the two of them. Plus, if Overtake is more comfortable on Nighthaven, than Consulate in the first place, then I mean we have a banger on our hands for sure.
Honestly, I'm happy Overtake did that. Just because we don't have to see Consulate a second time in a row. But the thing is, we're taking a little bit of time to get everyone into the lobby. So we're going to go on a TD break. Hopefully, the last one for today. But again, don't go anywhere. We're going to have some amazing Siege.
The shortest break of the day so far is over, and Nighthaven Labs is finally upon us. Like I said earlier, one of my personal favorite maps in the current pool. Honestly, yeah, I'll say it. It's top 3. It's top 3.
I mean, I love it, but we've got the bans to come out first. And again, I'm expecting that Grim ban. I'm expecting that Mira ban. I don't know about the final one. Maybe Dokkaebi again, so probably just Grim Dokkaebi. So... Oh.
Maverick Mira.
Oh. I like the Maverick ban, because obviously it means the breaches are harder to get open. We will see that making sure that the breaches will now just stay closed for a lot longer, and especially doubling down with that ace ban, you either have to go the thermite charge, it's luckily he's now got 3 with that big buff he got, or you go with the smaller breaches with the Habana, with the can openers. But the Azami as well, again, not crazy. I feel like Azami and Mira are both those bans which you could see on any map and you wouldn't really bat an eye. Like, Azami's really good because you can just mold the defense to your own imagination. And then Mira, I feel like at this point, every single map, every single site has a Mira strat available, and it's basically a default strat at this point. So again, not crazy to see, but I'm really curious about this Maverick ban. You see it a lot to open that IT breach quickly, so that's probably the idea coming out from KittenKweens. But on their lineup, I'm not expecting a big roam. You don't normally see one on top floor. You normally sometimes see maybe at the most someone down in storage, but it's more of extensions, extending into electrical, extending into connector, and extending into that fish side to make sure that no one can push into those positions quickly, no one can take them fast, and then you obviously have an extension into rafters as well. So again, it's just extensions of the site, not really a roam per se.
Indeed, and that does seem to kind of be the case here with some of the utility that we're seeing placed down. Obviously, the deployable shield from the Warden going down over towards blue, and a whole lot of pressure coming out, specifically from this side of the map by Overtake here. All of them approaching from a very similar angle, and mine is in a very, very forward position right off the bat. This is kind of what you expect from mine, though. She is one of those players who you kind of expect to be the gunner for Overtake. Obviously, a former member of the Wildcard Queens roster that dominated Women's Siege for a period of time a little while ago and won the first season of Project Luna. Now on a new roster with new players. So very curious to see if they're going to be able to maybe do a little bit of perhaps overtaking in the standings here, because currently they are behind KittenKweens. At least they were at the start of the day. I'm not Obviously they should still be behind, having just seen KittenKweens win the previous game, but perhaps if they're able to take this win away, then they do, well, for lack of a better term, overtake them in the standings. But first pick does not go their way, and they've lost out on one of the most important operators they have in that Thermite.
Oh, but an answer back as mine. Doubles down, takes down the Ella, but she's on such low HP, now having to fight up against this mute shotgun. She thinks better of it, rotating back outside, and we're seeing a stalemate here, even across the board, 4-on-4. The only thing that's really favoring is that HP advantage for KittenKweens, but that has been traded through the map ground. The Overtake have been able to find a pre-fire shot out, does not land, as again, we're still sitting in this stalemate. The Grimbees go out, the information coming in, but Poppy, she gets the next, mine goes down, and then Metronome, but the position to maybe get this plant down has been established, as Sierra gets one, but instantly fragged out, as Helly now has position. It's a 2v2 post plant though. Who will win this out?
2v1 post plant now with Metronome going down on the first engagement. A little bit of a tactical crouch here, and I'd say maybe kind of well earned there, because what a well played round. What a great retake. A short retake, but a great retake from KittenKweens.
I mean, short but effective in the end, at least for KittenKweens' side. Overtake, they tried to really avert eyes. They were showing a lot of presence on that rafter side, but as soon as that presence dies out, as soon as the cover dies out, it is left up in that situation where the planter is on an island. They either have to try and push back, play a post-plant position, or they take a gunfight, and they tried to do the latter, and it just didn't pay out for her, and she loses out the round. But KittenKweens, they played that really well in terms of knowing when to fight out and get the picks. And also in that 2v1 situation, they didn't swing them one by one, which you sometimes see in your average ranked game. They made sure to go for a 3-2-1, push at the same time, push together. And then even when, say, if the planter did win one of those gunfights, she was always able to lose out on that refrag, lose out on the next gunfight, because the second gun was always trained on her. But now we rotate to that basement. The question marks for me on this site was going to be, do we see an extensive road? Do we see maybe that top floor start down onto the basement? And it looks like we are going to. But it's going to be with an operator that is perfect for that type of roam, the Scopos. If we see a lot of presence, a lot of discomfort for Helly, she can instantly teleport right back down the site and be with her teammates. If there's a rush going on, teleport right back down to her teammates, and always make sure that she is available and alive for that late round.
Scopos is one of the coolest operators they've added in recent years, in my humble opinion. I love that. I love the concept of just having the two different shells that you can switch back and forth between, and I mean, effectively teleport your entire consciousness from the top floor to the bottom floor instantly. But Helly, I mean, will not be able to make use of that gadget in this particular round here, because loses out on the first gunfight here. Sierra able to get that pick, and that's a pretty rough start for KittenKweens here. Definitely not one that they can't come back from, but I mean, losing out on the Scopos is rough for sure.
I mean, we've seen them come back from crazier in that last map, but Sierra, she's been able to not only get the opening pick, but also a really good advantageous position in terms of making sure all of lobby has been taken by her, and now kitchen as well. But the question marks is, do they know that Adriella has been able to not only get away from the eyes, but lurk down into this bottom fifth position? They do, as they've got the cut-off perfectly counted. Metronome gets the next, and not only that, she also gets those cameras hacked. C4 goes out, does not land on the Aurora, and now we're sitting in a position where we've seen KittenKweens come back from a 3v5 before, but Overtake, they are slowing down, they are resetting, they're getting the drones out, and they're getting the information on board to make sure they don't give away this man count.
Ooh, but a C4. That's a pretty decent start to get yourselves back into this one if you're KittenKween there. Excellently placed there, and I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. That's exactly what you want to see for KittenKweens, because now without the Raura there, it's a harder attack to make for sure. Just being down a player sucks, and I mean that's just rough. There was nowhere for that Valkyrie to go there, and being down another player is going to be such a crucial misstep here. And with Puppy potentially also falling, I mean, this Ram has just made so many problems appear for KittenKweens in this particular round here. Would not at all shock me to see this operator get banned out once we make it to our 4th round. But for now, the diffuser is going to be planted by Overtake. And this time, I'm fairly certain they will not be able to retake and defuse this one. So it will, in fact, be an answering round from Overtake.
A really good answer back in there. Not only getting that entry, but being able to then use it as a fuel to just take the map control quickly, use the drones, use the information. Even when they lost that pick back through that C4, they were still able to then, again, reset a second time, be like, okay, let's calm down. Let's make sure that they can't do that again. That's one of their C4s gone. Probably don't have any more, and then they got the drones out, being able to take even more position, take down EXO, take down the person through the vert, and then they just used, again, like you said, that ram vert perfectly to their advantage to just pick them off one by one and then go down to the site to get that bomb down. Really good stuff coming out from Overtake. But again, we see something you don't see often in, say, other leagues. You don't normally see a site reattempted a lot. We've seen it quite a lot throughout today. The site always being reattempted, always trying again, knowing what they did wrong. And most of the time, it has worked out. We have seen round wins and round victories from reattempted sites. And unless you're StrikeX, who lose basement 3 times in a row. But that's each their own. But we are going to see
sure
the reattempt the
twice,
basement
by the
bomb
way.
site. Huh?
I'm pretty sure that was only twice, by the way. They lose 2 basements.
There was
in
twice
row,
in a row, yeah, but then they lost it a third time later on. I am wrong technically, yes, but again, basement this time round out, reattempted, a lot more heavy on the C4s and less of a roam game. Everyone basically in and around the basement, other than Adriella, who is all the way on that top floor, but I expect them to drop off quite quickly. But as I'm saying that, Metronome already quick fired into the kitchen, taking this round here.
Inside the building very quickly is this Deimos, and this is an operator that I feel like we haven't gotten to see a whole lot of highlights from today. A lot of the Deimoses I've seen have just fallen early in given rounds here, but with the Valkyrie getting targeted, surely this should be an early engagement here, and in fact it is. The Valk does take a significant amount of damage, but Metronome will get forced out of position by the C4 from the Valkyrie and then promptly finished off by, like, I believe it was Adrielle.
It was Adriella.
Okay, it was Adriella.
And again, that's something that's impressed me a lot from KittenKweens throughout this entire day, honestly. Their teamwork. You saw the comms coming out, the information being given to the Ella, and that's evil, like you said, backed him up and then got the pick. Helly gets the next 9 going down. That's the nades off the board. And obviously, the stims, they may be helpful if someone goes down low HP. Most gunfights will be headshots, so not the craziest utility to lose, but it's mainly going to be those throwable nades. And there's still a big top floor roam coming out. Adriella having to back away, make sure they have position to get back with their teammate. But Helly with the C4 taking down the next. Adriella still in an aggressive position, but eventually taken down by Sierra. And now a 2v4. It's hard, but it can still be done here.
It is extremely winnable for Overtake, but they lose out on Fawn up on the first floor. And without the hard breach available, it's going to be a whole lot harder for this Lion to even get onto the site here. Does still have 1 usage left of the EE1D, but I'm not even sure how much that's going to help him out here. Aggressive positioning from the two, but very similar to where we saw Adriella earlier. And this time, Helly is going to finish the kill and the round. Very, very solidly put together for the side of KittenKweens here. And now we move into our second ban phase.
Moving a second ban phase, curious what could go out. There's a lot of rough rates that really have helped both sides, both teams. tuber out, the Valk, obviously the external information, obviously by seeing that Valk ban just because how strong it has been on the board, and maybe we will see the Thermite ban just to double down on those hard breaches that KittenKweens have really been trying to target throughout. But no, we're going to see Dokube. We will see the Valkyrie, not surprised on that, just because how strong those cameras have been, not only to get the C4s, but to give the information for the side of KittenKweens to be able to swing with each other and then play off each other perfectly to get the frags on board. The Dokube routine ban just means that you can maybe play more of a roam game that you've been doing throughout this game in terms of that basement up. But now we do move on again to their prime bomb site. It did come down to a close situation in terms of that 1v2 post plant. So I'm not counting Overtake out in terms of being able to take this bomb site, but it still will be a hard task, especially now with the two-barrel intel. I don't think they had the two-barrel last time, so it will just mean those breaches, especially without the Maverick, are going to be such a headache in opening in terms of they either have to just stall out forever with the Thatcher and Thermite, which they're not even bringing, so there's no going to be Thatcher Thermite stalling. It's probably going to be maybe impossible to even get this breach open unless they have some way to shoot the Cade off, which will have to mainly come down to either the nades from Bandit or just the Twitch drone.
Yep, I kind of expected the Twitch to roll through here. My question is, if they wanted to get rid of an operator that would help them to roam more effectively, why would they ban the Dokube that Overtake have not been playing instead of the Deimos, which they have shown an affinity for, to say the least? That's
Dokube is just better. That's really it. Like, I'm gonna be. I know what you mean, but Dokube is generally just a better current roam clearing operator than Deimos. She's the best at it.
All right. You say so. I trust you. You're smart. You know what you're talking about. Sometimes. Listen. I'm simply the play-by-play caster here. If you think I know what I'm talking about at any given moment, you are sorely mistaken. But 2 minutes into the round now, and there go both of mine's Twitch drones. I don't believe they were able to get both of the claws. Maybe they were, actually, because I heard that exothermic charge go off. Perhaps Fawn has opened up that wall, and now there is going to be an opportunity for the side of Overtake to look into that IT area. And that was very nearly a kill into the Kaid there. Poppy getting out of the way just barely in time, but Adriella not so lucky. The KittenKweens defense begins to falter.
I mean, Sierra, a pick every single round throughout this game so far. Now 4 on the board, and you're right, that is the breach opened up. But Heli getting aggressive, getting chally as they double down and get 2 on the board, looking for a third, but shot in the back by Mine, as we do see a 3v3 situation here for the side of both teams. But the question is, they have been able to at least take this right position with the Blackbeard.
Yeah, the Blackbeard is such an important operator in this composition, man. So much space control with the help of this shield here. Frankly, I'm a little surprised we haven't been seeing more shields today because of how powerful and, frankly, kind of simple they already use right now. Mine is going to be the next victim in this fight, though, because the Blackbeard simply wasn't there to punish the overextension from the Kaid, and now a couple more players feeling pressured, and Miha with the double kill to close it out on that Warden. Beautiful shots, beautiful spin, and KittenKweens put themselves at 3 once again.
Beautiful spin. I mean, not wrong. It was a very nice spin. And honestly, just the aggression again coming out from KittenKweens. We saw it on Consulate when they were defending basement. We saw how aggressive they were able to get in terms of fighting back and just making sure that StrikeX could not sit pretty when they went for those early fights. We're seeing it again here. We're seeing, yes, Overtake are being able to honestly get a lot of those opening picks, but it's just the way the KittenKweens are always able to fight back. It's mainly been Heli throughout both of these games. Right now, between the two maps, she is sitting on, I think it's 24 and 5, which is ludicrous between two maps. And this map isn't even halfway through. So it's even crazier when you think about it. It's nearly 30 kills between two maps, and it's insane to see something like this. She's just completely dog walking these teams so far. But Overtake, they've taken that time out. They've been able to calm down. They've been able to sit. They've been able to talk. And they've been able to reset. They know what's going wrong. And they now are trying to fix it inside the server. How are they going to do it? I think, again, the issues have been they've kind of got over ego. They've kind of got over ahead of themselves. We see a lot of the times they're taking unnecessary gunfights. We saw there Sierra just kind of swinging for the fences, going for a pick on side of the person behind the bomb when it wasn't really advantageous for them. And again, also somewhat a little bit being caught off guard. We saw that Heli being able to just swing and frag out for a double pick. I'm not going to say they don't have position because I think Overtake's positionings have been actually decent. They've been able to stick together, and it's in that situation, it was just Heli being able to get 2 picks despite the refrag, despite the buddy system being there, just because their gunfight was better and they were just always able to just catch them off guard by aggression. I mean, that's what Overtake need to be, make sure they work down. Don't get caught off by the aggression and just make sure that you're taking the right make sure you're taking the right gunfights.
Indeed, they are. Next round begins, and an early run out from Adriella in an attempt to find a pick onto Fawn early is foiled, unfortunately, for the alibi player. But I mean, that was very nearly a disaster for Overtake in the opening seconds of the round, and another early run out from Adriella. Not going to be punished this time around. This time, Fawn, like, nobody to shoot in that exact spot, but Fawn currently taking a lot of damage, able to at least get 1 wall open, potentially 2 in the next couple of seconds here. 2 minutes remaining in the round, and it's been fairly quiet on the engagement front outside of the early, like, attempted run out.
Also, I said the last time about the alibi, like, it made sense because the fact that the team was bringing Snake so much, but no, I think this summit is generally just for the gun. Like I've said the time before, it's a really good gun, but as I'm saying this, Poppy opening up the pick on Metronome
Oh my
and
God.
doubling it down as Rock going down next. A 2-piece for the Mute inside this round. Just doesn't seem like they had the right utility in terms to clear out the players sitting inside of Electrical. No nades being thrown in, but Mine at least answers back, gets one back through an amazing lurk throughout games. As it's not the worst of where to lose, Alicia going down on that Fenrir, but does mean that those Fenrir mines that have activated are going to stay. But as I'm saying this, Heli gets the next, taking down Mine, continuing her rampage throughout this game.
Yeah, but as much as we've been gassing up Heli, I mean, Puppy just dominating as well. Currently sitting at 5 kills, playing the Mute here, and doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. Fawn would have to pull out her first 3 kills of the entire map here in the last 60 seconds of the round, but not able to do it. Puppy with another in the round. Are you kidding me? Currently sitting at 6 kills. 4-1 scoreline now in favor of the KittenKweens. Suboptimal site, don't matter. They're going to win anyway.
So it's Puppy, not Poppy. I think you said Poppy. So it's Puppy.
Pretty sure it's Puppy.
Which would be very ironic. Because
why is that?
KittenKweens, and they're called Puppy.
Oh, that's true. But she got the dog in her.
She does have the dog in her. To be fair, we definitely saw it in that round. The dog came out and she was able to cook them up inside of Electrical, getting a free K, all from the same position, basically. Just making sure either using the shotgun or the SMG-11. And I just think the utility was the issue there. They were never able to bring the right utility to clear out Puppy from the power position. The nades didn't come through. The drones didn't even look like they came through. They had no idea that the Mute was able to just sit pretty in that position. And if the team is having poor information issues, having poor drone work, why not bring a rat? Why not bring a cav? Making sure that they can lurk all the way across that top floor and just stay undetected, unknown. And it doesn't even look like that she was even scanned through that prep flow. So even when you bring that Deimos, if you don't have the scan on the cav, you cannot track them out.
Indeed. Indeed, it is. Going into this next one, we are looking at an interesting operator selection here for the defenders. We got a cav. We got a cav on the board. Adriella feeling very confident here against Overtake. Already at 4 round wins. And, I mean, looking to potentially put together a few more in the next couple of seconds here. But, unfortunately for Fawn, They cannot get that wall opened up. The combination of the bandit and the Tubarão proves just a little bit too effective, and both of those hard breach charges are now completely off the board here. Adriella now being spotted out by the Deimos. They know that this player is in kitchen, cafeteria, vending, lounge. They know exactly where she is at any given moment as she rotates away. Minute 55 remaining now, and still no deaths on either side, but mine hurting real bad, as is Adriella. An engagement here. Mine and Heli both going very, very low. But, oh my god! This Vigil continues to hit shots. Miha with 2 right then. Cav gets targeted out by the Deimos, but surely they don't know about this positioning from the Vigil. Another pick from Mia, and the impact to find a 4th?
Ace
Are
badge?
you kidding? One left.
Ace badge. We got to become an ace badge.
One left. There's gotta be an ace here, but Heli's gonna steal it away at the last moment. KittenKweens, a convincing 5th round win for them.
Really? That's mean. That's poor sportsmanship. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. That reminds me. This is a random tangent. I was it's Poppy. Okay, I knew it was Poppy. I'm just saying. Right. Anyway,
Damn it. I've been saying it wrong since Project
tangent,
Luna 1.
When I was casting Challenger Series Swiss, I think it was AX got a 4K round 1. His teammates stole the ace. Next round, just to prove it wasn't a fluke, got an ace.
Lol.
So maybe we'll see something similar, but we are having a side switch. We are having some new bans. Mira is still being banned. Maverick is still being banned. Tubarão's being banned, and Grim's being banned. So we do have 2 different bans at least. Grim, again, reiterating what I said on Consulate, amazing operator in terms of being able to clear up player positions, get information, and he doesn't have any counters anymore. Mute used to be a really good counter, but for some reason, Ubisoft don't like Mute. They said, we hate you, we're nerfing you to oblivion, you are now useless. He doesn't stop anyone anymore. Like, he only stops Thermite, and drones, I guess, but you can find another way to drone out the site. But doesn't stop Grimbees anymore, and Grim's only counter is Vigil, which normally you don't see Vigil on site. Normally you don't see Vigil that much. I mean, we just saw Vigil cook up a storm on the 2nd floor, but wasn't on site, wasn't in a power position. So you're not really going to see a Vigil stopping the Grimbees. Tubarão, I think, may counter him. I don't fully remember. I think he does, so I think if you're in the Grimbees, you can freeze them. Not fully sure on that, but that sounds right to me, so I'm going to say it. So 2 maybe counters. Most of the time you are using the Tubarão for the wall, and Tubarão's banned. So again, no more counters anymore, but he's gone off the board anyway. So I really like those bans coming out from Overtake.
An interesting series of bans for certain. Tubarão off the board is quite strange. Obviously, we did see a fair bit of Tubarão from the KittenKweens defense. Not every round, but I believe every time they went to the basement, we did see the operator, if I'm not mistaken. So they just don't want to deal with a taste of their own medicine here. And you know what? I can respect that. Absolutely, I can respect that. Now, KittenKweens on the defense, starting off on the top floor, which, I mean, unsurprising. This is like a favored site for basically everybody who's ever played Nighthaven Labs. Obviously, a lot of people will just default to playing a top floor site, no matter what map they are playing, because, you know, having the high ground typically advantageous, and you don't want to have to deal with operators like the Ram, like the Buck, like the Sledge, who can open these walls above you and just make life very, very, very difficult. But anyway, you slice it. We are up here, and so far, no deaths on either side, but Metronome has fallen very low. This should be a successful bandit trick, and it is, in fact, going to be so. However, Deimos is locking down the position of this bandit player, and surely they will not be able to stay in IT for very long, because, I mean, doing so would just kind of be a death sentence.
I mean, they somehow got the bandit trick.
Oh my god.
Heli gets that open in Peck. Sierra going down early on. Honestly, mine has done really well, though, to be able to get that bandit trick off. I don't think they actually have any idea that she's still in No, but they don't, and she's able to get the
don't
pick. But as her team dies around her, never mind, they're fighting back too. It's a 2v3 situation, but a big part of the map has been given away here. But the diffuser has been given away to the defenders, so it's a fight back here basically to get ground, either get ground back or get the diffuser back.
But that diffuser is so far away, and Fawn, with a perfectly placed Nitro, is going to be able to get that kill, but Heli closes it out with 2 more. And once again, they have put themselves on map point here. 6 round wins to 1. Overtake simply, I mean, sometimes they look like they are about to take a round away. They look competitive, but KittenKweens, much more often than not, they've been able to close it out.
Heli's the future. I will just say that right now. What the hell? Like every single round, she has impact in some way. I think she may have 30 kills now in both maps combined, which is again ludicrous. Like that is insane numbers. Not only to put up, like putting up 16 kills once, insanity. No, she is 1 away from the 30 bomb between 2 maps. But again, putting up double digits in 1 map, very impressive, especially when it's a 7-3 kind of a stomp. But now doing it in 7 rounds, putting up 13 kills, doing it consistently back to back is insane.
It's ridiculous.
You know what? I'm gonna make a pun. It's heli impressive. Like, was that good? Are we getting a clap?
I already said what the heli, man. We can't make the same joke twice in the same round. That's messed up, dude.
I'm not gonna swear because I'm a professional, but there is heli. You know the. I was gonna say, make the pun like holy and then the S word. But anyway, on to the final maybe round, unless we can see an incredible comeback. We saw it once, W7M phase. Obviously, a smaller stage, SI, a little bit smaller than Project Luna, but hey, it's happened. So maybe we can see Overtake channel their inner W7M and make this comeback a reality. It's got to start somewhere, and it's got to start with this round here.
Listen, all I'm saying is if you watched SI, then you're a real ball knower. That was a niche tournament that nobody had ever heard of before. Exactly. Unlike Project Luna, the biggest tournament in Rainbow Six Siege history. 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the round here, and fairly standard site opening here. And Overtake has opted for their potential final battleground to be this top floor site once again here. So not really a surprise to see them fighting for their life up on the top floor. Unfortunately, they do lose out on that IT wall very early in the round. Mine not able to hold on to that with bandit tricks or anything of the like, and already losing out on numbers. Metronome on that vigil, not able to get any value in this round. And Adriella finding another onto mine through the smoke. Are you kidding? The glass play in the potential final round of the match? Gonna be punished for it eventually. Sierra finds the pick, but there is the trade. It's a 1 versus 4. KittenKweens, they had to face a brutal doubleheader today, but there's a reason to the KittenKweens and not the QuittenQueens. They take both series 7-3 and 7-1.
I like that. That was a good one. That was a good one. Also, in the light of that, Heli did in fact get their 30 bomb across both maps. But overall, very impressive. I love that glass play. Being able to just smoke through the door and then just hold the angle, because there's nothing they can do about it. They have to blindly spray through. Eventually, they did get the refrag, but it was a little too late, as we saw then Sierra instantly refragged from the backstab through Fish. And then in the end, 1v4, what are you going to do? You've got to hit for the fences, hope and pray. And the praise, they just didn't work out, as we saw KittenKweens stomp Overtake there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like I was insinuating there. This was a ridiculously difficult day for them, considering they had to go into this one facing 2 opponents in one day, back to back, with very little time in between series to take a break. But it just does not matter, man. They came out swinging against both of these opponents, and I mean, that's a ridiculously good day. I mean, only losing 4 rounds across the 2 series you played is phenomenal. I think that gives them a +10 map differential on today alone, which if that doesn't shoot them into the first place category, it's like a solid second if it's not first already. But I'm pretty sure it is first.
I mean, from those performances alone, I think you've got to put them as one of the favorites to win it all. Like they were very impressive, and they weren't up against like layovers. Like they were up against two solid teams with solid players on it. Like you
Hmm.
said, mine former wildcard Queens member, where she dominated the women's scene, and then we saw StrikeX formerly undefeated before they went up against Kittens Queens. I've seen them win an event before. I saw them win the Blitz Queens events. Can they now win another and put that second chip under their book?
It's distinctly possible here, and I believe when checking the Wikipedia page, it does appear that even just with that first series, they did overtake StrikeX for that first place category here. So I can only imagine what their record looks like now that they have taken the win over Overtake. But that is going to do it for the two of us here today. Big shout outs to Painless on observation and Dianic on prod today. Y'all killed it. Without you guys, we could not put on the show that we do. So thank you for your work today. Big shouts to Chloe and Zero for hosting the entirety of Project Luna Season 2. And big shouts to Spy for his first cast of Project Luna Season 2, or Project Luna in general, because he wasn't around for Season 1. You got anything to say to the people?
No, I've really enjoyed my time here, and thank you for being such a great co-caster with me, Gester.
Of course, of course. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Have yourselves a good rest of your day, and we will see you guys for the final matches of the Luna Season 2 regular season next time we're live.